Y'all, today we're going to talk about one of the biggest stressors for every person in the world. You ready? Time. Yep. We all struggle with this one. Lissa Figgins is a recovering busyness owner who unhurried her heart, finally letting go of her addiction to controlling time, multitasking, and always doing. Now her mission as a scaling strategist is helping Christian women business owners scale their revenue by scaling time. Instead of just managing it, she teaches us how to multiply the 24 hours you are entrusted each day so that time is no longer your biggest obstacle, but your greatest opportunity. Let's learn the 3 mental shifts we can make so we stop managing our time and multiplying it. Let's go. Hey mama, are you overwhelmed by your full, blessed life? Do you feel stuck in the messy, mundane middle? Then I'm so glad you're here to take a breath. Hey, I'm Shan Wright, RN, holistic wellness coach, and a mom to 4 that went from perfectionism, control, and lots of anxiety to intentionally living through simple solutions and so much peace. If you are done with the stressed out life, hot mess express type of motherhood, then heat up that coffee again and let's live holistically well in the middle. Let's go. Welcome back to Holistic Moms. I'm so excited to bring y'all another guest today. I have a new friend, but we have a lot in common because we talk about time so much and the stress of time. But Lissa, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Shan. It's so fun to hang out with you and your audience today. I hope this is going to be a great use of time as we're having this conversation around something that literally everybody's on the same playing field. We all get 24 hours, but
Yes.
sometimes we're like, how does she do it with the same 24 hours I have when we're over here on the struggle bus, right?
Yeah, I actually hear that all the time. People always ask me that. How do you do it all? And I get confused by that question because I really think it does come down to our mindset of time. So we're going to get into it. But let me start with my question that I ask all my guests, which I love to hear. I don't even think I prepped you, but in your current season of life, which you can share what that is as well with the answer, but what are 2 things making your life less stressful?
Such a good question. So I'm in a season of we're empty nesters. I've got 3 kids. They are all literally from coast to coast. Our oldest just had their first baby. So I'm a new grandma. Yeah. And I'm in my 50s. You guys, I'm just going to say, if you're younger, like just wait. I really think 50s are fun because you know who you are. You know what God's called you to. You know, like you're just like, you're not making excuses anymore and you're not playing around and all of that. And so I love that in that season. So number 1, it's my time, my morning refill time. Like it is a consistent rhythm in my day to have time set aside where I'm not doing other things. I'm not binging any content on social. I'm not even checking inboxes. I'm not folding laundry. I'm not cleaning up the kitchen. This is time to refill body, mind, spirit.
Yeah.
And I remember when my kids were young, sometimes that was like 15 minutes, and you just kind of sneak it in. Now in this season, it gets to be, more like an hour to an hour and a half, which is such a beautiful thing of this season when kids are older and fly the coop and things like that. But that's a key thing is having that refill time I don't want to go without it, right? I just love my time with my coffee and with the Lord and my journal and my Bible and all the things. And then the second thing I would say is, we'll actually get into this, is having a plan for my week. Like so many people I talk to, they crash land into Monday, hope to make it till Friday, and that they maybe got something of value done in between. And then it's just like repeat, right? And it's just, I see so many women exhausted. I remember how I felt when I was just chasing a to-do list, from day to day. And it was just like, I was just always running to catch up. And so now, because of what I do, I teach women how to go into the week knowing exactly what it's time for and knowing that like, you don't have to, be stressing out about, I don't have enough time for all of this, because I teach this concept called capacity by design, right? Like when you have a choice, you can live by design or you can live by default. There's no other options, right? And so when you live by design, girl, you are way less stressed. It doesn't mean that there aren't times where, things happen that are unexpected, but I think it's just a whole lot different way of going through the week than the way that I used to. In a way, I see so many people doing it, especially moms who think, I can't have a plan. I have kids. All the more reason why you need a plan, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That kind of speaks to like what I share, but in different words. I like to say like wellness does not come by default, and complete
Mm.
wellness and wholeness equals peace. Like that is the true definition of the word peace. And so I say plan for peace. Like you have to plan for it and you have to
Yeah.
pursue it. Don't, it's not going to just come. Peace isn't going to just land in your lap. You actually have, and actually the opposite is true. Chaos will land in your lap if you don't plan for peace. So it's like you have to, I love that, starting your week planning for the design, the outcome that you want. Now things are going to come, curveballs are going to come.
Mhm.
But then when we have God on our side and we're starting our day off with Him, we actually can handle those things. So it all like
Yeah.
comes full circle, right?
I always joke, and I always have my big pink eraser close to me. And I'm like, I give God permission to pull out the big pink eraser. Sometimes I'm pulling out the big pink eraser, and all of my planning is always in pencil because,
Mm,
right, like the Lord, like Scripture teaches us, like in James, like don't be the person that just says, I'm going to go and do this, and then I'm off on my own. Like be
yeah,
the person that says the Lord wills, right? But it doesn't say don't make a plan.
right.
We hold those plans loosely and
Yeah.
trust that, yeah, we don't know all the moving parts. We're just stewarding what we know best right now.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So, yeah, why you said, you're in your 50s now, empty nester, and you know your purpose and you know what you're doing. Share with us. Like, we like to talk about testimonies here, how we got from point A to point B, what God designed in our life, how He brought us through to the testimony, the test that brought us
Yeah.
to the testimony. So, please share with us, why are you doing what you're doing now and how you got there?
Yeah. Well, it actually, I love that you use the phrase, how did you get there? Because I like to start off my story with, I was sitting in a doctor's office waiting for the test results, but I honestly didn't know how I got there. So my
Yeah.
story is that I've always been a doer. I've always had a planner, a to-do list, a goal. I can't remember a day I woke up and didn't already like have things, that I had to do and just, so doers do, right? And
Hmm.
doers just keep going. And I'm the type of person that, like I want to be faithful in serving my family. I want to be faithful in taking care of my home and serving in my church and leading women's ministry and running a business and all the things. And so just more kept getting added on my plate. And the only way to keep up with it all was to pick up the pace, right? Just to keep going. But what I found was I was tying so much of my value to what I was checking off my list.
Right.
And I was in the room, but I wasn't really in the room. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
think back to when my kids were young and they'd be like, Mom, let's play Barbie. And I'm like in there, like either like sorting all the Barbie clothes and organizing, the toy bin and stuff like that. Or I'm like with my phone, like trying to send a couple more messages or whatever. Like, I just wasn't fully present because I
Hmm.
always thinking about what I needed to do next.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And so like I ignored the guilt. I think so often we have this like I call it like the should do guilt.
Hmm.
We're always feeling guilty about I should be doing that. So like if you're with your family, you're like thinking about all the other things that you could or should be doing. If you have a business or a ministry or something else that you're working on, it's like when you're working on that, you feel guilty you're not with your family. So I ignored that. I
Hmm.
ignored what my body was telling me. I would always have this like knot in my stomach, like tension across my shoulders, of course, the guilt in my head. And then eventually I noticed a lump in my throat. And of course, at first I said, okay, drink more water, chew my food better. Maybe that's the problem. It didn't fix it. So Lissa ignored it. After a year, I started getting concerned because I'd had a thyroid cancer scare a couple of years prior to that. I was like, what if
Mm.
something's growing? So long story short, I promised my besties I would go to a specialist and check it out. And so he tried all kinds of different things over a period of months, finally scoped it. And this was the day I was sitting in his office waiting for the results. And he sits me down and he says, Lissa, good news. There's nothing growing in your throat. There is literally nothing. There's nothing there. He said, you have hystericus globus. And then he just looked at me and I'm like, what is hystericus globus? And he goes, globus, like a globe. You have this feeling of a ball. And hystericus, and he starts swirling his finger
Serious.
next to his head. He's like, you just have anxiety around all the stuff you're doing. I'm happy to prescribe you a pill. Now, I am not against medication for mental health at all, but I knew for me, it was going to be the band-aid that would allow me to keep going at the pace that I was and
Right.
keep doing what I was doing, right? And so it wasn't the fix. And so I declined the prescription. And I wish I could say everything changed in that instant. It didn't, but it changed in that moment. And over a series of weeks and months, God started getting a hold my attention and showing me that my busyness was not a disordered calendar. Because if it was, I had all the time management hacks. I had all of the to-do list organization tools and, all the stuff the time management gurus were teaching me. But I still had a problem, obviously, trying to control and manage my time. It was more of a control issue than anything. But he showed me that my busyness was really a disordered heart,
Hmm.
and showed me that I've been chasing my not enoughness for a really long time. It started with my time wasn't enough. Then it went to my doing wasn't enough. And then it was
Yeah.
I wasn't enough. It's like this slippery
Yeah.
slope, right? And so, yeah. And then shortly thereafter, my dad sent me a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by a pastor named John Mark Comer. I know a lot of people have read it. I'm on my
Hmm.
fourth reading right now with my clients, and that really showed me like this is more of a spiritual issue
Yeah.
than like a time management issue. And so finally, like after breaking me and going, okay, I'll slow down, and what do you have to say about my time, and having conversations with women on a daily where you ask like, how are you, how's life lately, what you hear all the time, the B word. Oh,
Hmm.
busy, just staying busy. And I was like, I remember going, is this what God wants for us? And so Redeem Her Time was literally born in the pew. I just had a friend tell me, oh, life is busy, and pasted the smile that we all wear, right? Busy like a badge of honor. And I was sitting in a sermon in Ephesians, and all of a sudden I thought of Ephesians 5. Look carefully how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time, because these are difficult days. I'm like, okay, maybe there's a different way we're supposed to approach time than just the way the world is, running around with their chicken like their head cut off, trying to, yeah, stay ahead of something. And so, yeah, so my mission is really to help busy Christian women like shift how we approach time, and really to be able then to not manage it, but actually multiply it.
Yeah.
So that's what I love talking about, because we can't change the 24 hours we get. No matter how much you wish for an extra hour in your day, girl, it's never coming, and you probably waste it the same way you are now. So how do we actually like multiply it so that it's
Hmm.
it's making, a bigger impact in our homes, in our businesses, in our ministry, and then for the kingdom?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. I love that story. That's such a wake up call, but that you actually listened and obeyed and
Well, remember, I ignored the ball for a year.
right,
And then
right.
it was a process of getting to where I am now, like,
But
yeah,
so
doers
many
die hard.
Yeah, so many people would have just taken the medication and did what the doctor said and treated the
Mm,
symptom, put the band-aids on,
yeah.
whether it was that kind of symptom or something else. Like we do
Mm.
and I am not a fan of band-aids. So I love that you took that moment of reflection. I think that's a big thing that we're missing. And probably that came from time with prayer and journaling with God and be like, what am I missing here? What am I not seeing? Oh, this is a issue of how I'm living my life, not, this was a wake up call. So I love that.
Yeah.
So which you said manage, not multiply your time, not manage it, which I love because speaking that I talk about stress all the time and I like go on Instagram or Facebook and I go to put hashtags and this word didn't come up before. I didn't really think of this word, but it was like stress management. And I'm like, oh, that's like a thing. People want to manage their stress. But I don't really want to help people manage their stress. I want to help people reduce their stress. I want to
Eliminate
help.
their stress, right? Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some good stress. I think we
That's
have
true.
to have some good stress or
This
we're
is
not
true.
doing anything in the world. So I want them to reduce it from this anxiety and this burnout and this
Yeah.
emotional fatigue and
Yeah.
exhaustion. I want them to reduce it to a
Yeah.
happy level of stress. And so anyway, this word management caught my attention when you said that. And I think time is a mindset issue. And you said shift, which I think it's
Mm,
all about a mental shift that we have to make. When Paul was
mhm.
saying that, he's like, he's helping them see in Ephesians, like, let's do a mental shift here. You're looking at it this way. I want you to look at it this way. I want you to
Mm.
see how we can redeem time, not be running around stressed about all these other things. So tell us, Lissa, how do we redeem the time and multiply it, not manage it?
Yeah. Well, I want to pull on something that you just talked about a minute
Yeah.
ago, being like stress and anxiety. Like there are diagnoses now of like time anxiety, right? And things that are related to, and I think about it, I think if you go down to, I mean, there are a lot of different stressors, but when you think about the culture we live in right now, a
Hmm.
lot of the stress we feel or we perceive is related to something with time. Like it kind of just goes all the way back down here. And here's where, like, I think as believers, we should be approaching time differently.
Yeah.
Like we should be approaching everything. I mean, in the kingdom, right? We shouldn't look like the rest of the world. That's why we're told to shine like stars, right? Like because we're standing out as different. And in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus talks about he talks about the people who don't know God. And he says they're running around chasing after these things. What do I drink? What do I eat? What do I wear? Right? And how often are even we as believers like chasing, running around just like them, chasing all
Yeah.
these things? That's why he invites us, like, seek first my kingdom and my way of living. And all these things, right, will kind of filter down. So yes,
Mhm.
I believe it starts with our hearts, because here's the thing. Like, if a planner or another time management hack or something like that was going to fix the problem, then it would fix the problem. The problem is it only fixes it temporarily. It's the Band-Aid, because we're
Yeah.
not getting to the heart issue. So yes. So the first, well, let me just kind of step back and say this too, because I think so often we listen to the time management gurus, and what do they tell us? You just need to get more organized. You
Mm.
just need a time block. You just need to organize your to-do list. You need to set goals, right? But the problem, and what we notice, is that you go from order to disorder. It's like the closet you clean out, and it doesn't, like, it gets messy again. The drawer that you finally go, okay, I'm enough of this. And it doesn't stay that way, because, you just keep dumping things in there. And so
Yeah.
again, this is where we want to get down to the root issue. So 3 shifts that you
Mm-hmm.
can make to start multiplying your time. Shift number 1, and they're all super simple, Shan. So I love this, that they're simple, but they're like, if you really listen and think about this, they're deep. Like, they shift. Okay, so shift number 1 is your belief around time.
Yeah.
Because how many of us say, I don't have time, or some version of it? If I had time, if only I had time, when I have time, when the kids go to school, I'll have time, when the holidays are over, I'll have time, when the kids move out of the house or get their driver's license or whatever. Like, as an empty nester, I'm here to tell you, it's still busy, like, even with my kids not, being under my roof and things like that. And so we are running around chasing what we don't think we have. And wouldn't the enemy love to keep us doing that? Because then we're not being effective with what we do have.
Yes. One of
Right?
the
Like,
ones
I
that
think,
I hate as a nurse and as a coach is when people say, uh, I'll sleep sometime or someday I'll get back to sleeping. And it's like, every day you
yeah,
need a certain amount of sleep, and that is time, right? That's a
yeah,
big chunk of time, but
yeah.
it's so important. And yeah, okay.
So
I
here's the
also,
truth.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I also have a time workshop that I do. And it's called Create More Time, because
Mm.
it's all about this number one shift that you have here is your belief. If you just change your belief, you create more time in your day. And so I'm excited to hear the other ones, because I'm like, well, that's the main one that I talk about.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And so, yeah, my belief I want women walking away with. In fact, I have people tell me, Lissa, I hear you in my head. And at the end of every podcast I have, on the sign behind me, on everything that I brand, my signature phrase is, you have time. And
Yeah.
I put it in all caps with a period after each word, because I want you to slow down and remind yourself, like, I have time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that'll lead into one of these next shifts in just a minute. And if you ever don't think you have time, here's the test. Pull out this thing that follows you around like an extra appendage, open the screen time, and look at how much time you gave this in the last 24 hours. The
Yeah.
average person spends 4 hours and 37 minutes, which means some people are up to 9 hours a day. If you do the math and you take out the sleep time that we should be sleeping,
Yeah.
that's just shy of 100 days a year.
Mm,
Almost a fourth of your life is going to this one device, right?
yeah.
And we say we don't have time. And I teach this concept called capacity by design. What happens is we let those 24 hours get filled with Skittles. And there's not good things that happen on our phone or other things in our day, right? But like, when you let the Skittles fill your time and then you go to put in what I call the oranges, there's not room for all the oranges. The oranges are the things that matter.
Mm,
Your faith walk, your family, your relationships with friends, the work you do, how you care for your home. Like, I've got 8 different oranges that I teach women about, and I'll tie that into the free offer that I give your audience at the end.
yeah.
But you put the oranges in first, same container, then you pour the Skittles in, same container, same number of Skittles, it all fits and it's not overflowing. So
Mm-hmm.
it really, like, you have to go, I have time, right? That's the first thing. And really understanding, like, if God thought that I needed 25 hours, don't you think he'd give it to me?
Right.
Like, the Israelites had to believe the manna was enough, even though they wanted more and they wanted something else, right? That
Mm-hmm.
was their daily bread. And that's literally what it means in the Sermon on the Mount. Give us this day our daily bread literally means give us today what we need for this day.
Right.
And when our pastor was preaching through that, he's like, what are you dependent on God every single day that you can't do on your own? I'm like, my time. I can't create it. I can't
Yeah.
save it from yesterday. I can't borrow from tomorrow. So we have to believe we have time. That's shift number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Shift number 2 is really important. Once you know you have time, and that is shifting our role. Okay. Because we tell ourselves, or we're told, you just have to get better at managing your time. I believe time management is dangerous, and it actually kills your growth in you, and it sets you up for burnout, and it limits your results, and it distracts you from what truly matters. Because To manage, I used to be an English teacher, literally means to keep contained or under control. It is a fear response to something getting away. Think about the parable of the servants from Matthew 25. What did the guy who got the one talent do? First of all, don't feel bad for him. That was 20 years' wages. Take what you earned this year times 20. That's how much he'd been given. It was a lot. He had an abundance. But what did he do out of fear? He went and buried it. He kept it contained so it didn't get away. He was afraid it was going to get away. But the other two servants, what did they do? One got 2 talents, one got 5 talents. In the parable, it doesn't matter that one got more than the other. It was what they did with it because they understood their role was to steward it.
Yeah.
What a steward does is they take someone else's resources that have been entrusted to them. They understand, I don't own this. And then they invest it with a goal of expansion. Like if you, Shan, gave me $1,000 before you went on a trip and said, Lissa, I want you to steward this $1,000 while I'm gone. You know, like, I mean, I could go hide it in my mattress, you know, when you come back, hey, here's your $1,000 back, you know, hopefully I'm not shopping at Target or Amazon or something like that with it. Right. But like, if you've entrusted this to me and I see myself as a steward, I'm going, okay, how can I invest this? So when Shan gets back from her trip, I'm like, hey, look, your $1,000 is now $2,000 or $10,000 or whatever. Like that's the goal of a steward. And here's the thing. When a steward confuses ownership and they start acting like the owner, they become an embezzler. We would never do that with someone else's money, right? But we do that with the time that God has given us.
Yeah.
And so when you look at those two servants, they were acting by faith. Did they know for sure what the return was going to be every time they, you know, invested or made a trade or something with that talent? No, but they trusted in the one who had gave it to them. And they understood that their role was to expand it on behalf of their master so that when they came back, what did they hear? Well done, good and faithful servant. Like you've been faithful with little, let me trust you with more. Right.
Yeah.
But the other guy heard, you wicked and lazy servant. Right. Like, and so we have to understand that we are not here. We don't own anything. Right. We didn't bring anything with us into the world and we take nothing with us. We are stewards of our time, our talents, our treasures, right. Even our families and things like that. How am I approaching this in that way?
Yeah.
As a steward, not a manager.
Yep. That's good.
Because to manage, think about this. A manager at a fast food restaurant, watch them behind the counter. They're running around. It's like whack-a-mole all day long because they're just trying to keep everything in line, trying to like, you know, make sure all their ducks are in a row. How many of us, like, that's what we do all day long. Just we get everything lined up and then it's a constant game of whack-a-mole all day long, trying to contain and control it. And then we fall in bed exhausted going, what did I even do today? Right? Like,
I know. That's why, steward. I talk about this too, stewardship, even as a caregiver, stewarding your children. And when a lot of moms are stressed out, it's because they're trying to control their children. Just like you said, like a manager is trying to control the employees. And in a sense, there's rules, there's things that you have to keep in line. If you don't, he's coming after you. And so I don't want to treat my children like that. I want to steward them because God made them a masterpiece. They're actually they're his kids. So asking God continually, how do you want me to steward this child? The gifts, talents, the purpose, the identity that you put inside of them. How do I help them? How do I steward this? Because as the parent, yes, you provide things for them, you love them, and that love and support and that nurturing is going to help steward what's inside of them as they grow and helping them see that. And it sounds like a big responsibility, but it actually relieves the stress of trying to control them.
Yes. Right. Yeah. And I'm just doing my role. It's this beautiful, like I do my part. Like I think that stewardship should motivate productivity and profitability with what we do. Like I'm not just sitting on the couch going, well, let go and let God. And if he wants to make something happen, you know, like we have an active role to play.
Yeah.
And yet he is sovereign over it all and is able to then multiply the results. And one of the things I teach on is the laws of the harvest. You know, no farmer goes and puts one seed in the ground and expects one seed to come back.
Right.
You know, they know that the process of growth and expansion, like when they let go of the seed and they put it in the ground and they trust that God is going to bring the wind and the rain and the sun and the warmth and the whatever, like that it will produce more than what they put in.
Yeah.
Right. But there's faith in that. Even, you know, a farmer has to have faith when they put that seed in the ground. And that's how we have to be with our time as stewards. And then shift number 3 is our focus.
Yeah.
Because, okay, what do you think the number one question is that most people, and I talk to women, so I'm sure guys do the same thing, but anyway, I talk to ladies. I think I know what we're thinking. What do you think is the number one question that most women are asking when they look at a clock or a calendar?
Do I have enough time for that?
Yeah.
Or
Do I have enough time? What time is it? And then there's
yeah.
this like angst of like, what time is it? Like, oh my gosh, I should have already been done with this. This took longer than I thought. Where did the time go? I should have already left the house. Like there's this like that what time is it kind of creates the time anxiety. And now I'm rushing to meet some kind of standard or keep up with some kind of,
Mm-hmm.
pace or place that I think I'm supposed to be. So I teach women how to shift the question, listen to the subtle difference from what time is it to what is it time for?
Mm-hmm.
Almost the exact same words, but it doesn't make you like go, oh, I have to jump up and go. It actually slows you down and goes, number one, I have slows you down to the presence of your time. I do have time, which went back to shift number one, right? And then number two, the purpose of the time in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And this I think is key to avoid the number one mistake that so many women make, especially those of us who are caregiving for, in all kinds of scenarios, is multitasking.
Yeah.
How many of us are like trying to do all the things at once? I remember my daughter being at the kitchen table working on math homework, not her best subject. Me working on dinner, so I'm like boiling water on the stove. Clients messaging me, so I'm like responding back to them, and then my husband's walking the door asking me a question, and it's like I'm trying to do it all at once, and like we can't. We're not. We are the only things that are able to multitask are some supercomputers. Like we can't do multiple things at one time. We may think we can. We're actually just task switching really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my daughter's melting down at the table. The pot's boiling over on the stove. I just misspelled my message to my client. How many of us have done that? And I just said yes to something to my husband. I don't even really know what I just said yes to. I think that multitasking, we often think it's our superpower. It's our kryptonite.
Right.
It weakens our focus. It weakens our presence. And then no one and nothing gets enough of us to really make any kind of difference.
Mm-hmm.
So when we know what it's time for, right now, I can show up fully present to that purpose behind that time. And girl, you get way more done in less time when you are not distracted by all the things because you know what it's time for. Right. And
Yeah.
so I actually teach this process of how to build out what I shared in the beginning, what I call your ideal week plan. So that way, like I already know when it's time for all of my oranges, those important things. And yes, Skittles are going to fill in between. That's okay. Right. But I don't have to worry on Monday about, the laundry that I'm going to do on Saturday because I know I already have time for that or, whatever it is. And so it helps me show up fully present to what is it time for right now? And then I'm not tempted to multitask and waste time
Yeah.
trying to switch one thing to the next.
You just made me think of something. I've never thought of this in this role as a coach. But as a nurse, you just made me think like how as a nurse, when you're on shift, you actually are not multitasking. You can't because you will make an error. So
Mm-hmm.
we live and die by our brain, which nurses know what that means, but your little paper with all your check marks. And actually I used squares, that I have to check off. And when it was full and you weren't done your shift until every check mark was checked, right? But what was the seasoned nurse, the one that's done it for a while, they knew where to place the tasks. So I'm not going to go in, deliver medications and do all the medications for my patient before I do their vitals. I'm going to do their vitals first. That has to be at a certain time. And then I'm going to do their medications. And then I might make their bed after lunch when they're out taking a walk. Like I'm not going to try and put tasks where they don't belong. So taking that back to motherhood or being a caregiver of any sort, we do have a lot of tasks we have to do and we don't feel accomplished until they're all done. But it's like going back to the creator of time and God, where do I put these tasks so that makes the most sense? Because you know what the time is for. You've entrusted me with this time. I'm a steward of your time. So where does the task fit in so that I get the most done? I'm efficient, I'm effective, and I'm present. I love that. I might have to do a whole podcast on that because that just came from you saying that about like multitasking is nothing that we do well. And we don't do it. When we do our job that we do well, we don't multitask, but then we try to do it in everyday life and that we're confused why we don't feel productive. Well, that's why.
Right. I see so many women, it's like a pinball machine, right? We're
Yeah.
just reacting all day long to the next thing that's flying at us. And then going and then complaining, I don't have enough time. I didn't have time for that. I didn't get around to that. And so, yes, if we leave, like, going back to what we started with, you have a choice. You can enter your week by design or by default.
Yeah.
And when you choose default, or when you don't choose design, you're automatically choosing default. Now you are letting anyone and anything else fill that time, because guaranteed no one listening to this conversation has ever had a minute of their time that didn't get filled with something. Either you are doing it by design, like with the Lord, about like, hey, what are you calling me to in this season? So this is really important, knowing what season you're in and what the needs are of this season.
Right.
And here also is why, especially for caregivers, I think sometimes we think it's selfish to take the time for me, because I should be pouring out, I should be caring. But I mean, we've all heard it, right? You put your oxygen mask on first. You can't pour from an empty cup. But like, are you doing it? Are you actually taking time for those refills? I teach a morning refill and an evening refill, because I think the other mistake we make is we're binging or working or something up until the minute we go to bed, and then we wonder why we can't sleep or whatever, right? Are you taking time to refill? Because I think that's the selfish thing. If you don't take the time to refill, now you cannot caregive in the way that you really want to. You're going to be exhausted. Yeah, you might be in the room, but you are not in the room, right? So like, even seeing that time as like, what is it time for? It's time to refill body and spirit, so that I am full, so that I can go out and caregive in the way that God's called me to.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, I hate to say this, but our time is, we could talk about this for a while, because I feel like we need to hear all the different things. But you gave us these 3 amazing mental mind shifts that we can make to start multiplying our time and not managing it. I love it. That is so helpful. I love that. I was going to say you put it so concisely, which, of course, you're a time coach.
Right?
Get it down. Yeah. Where can people find you and find more?
Yeah. Well, I would love, come hang out with me on the Redeem Her Time podcast. We talk about time and faith and how those two intersect all the time. Especially if you have a business. I really have a heart for women who want to really see, a tangible result from their time, not just for their own, I look good, but like for His glory, right? So come find me on the Redeem Her Time podcast. And I put together a little resource for your audience, because I think so often, especially as caregivers, we're not paying attention to what I call the 8 areas of attention: your faith walk, your family relationships, your friendships, the work you do, how you're stewarding your resources, your wellness, right? Where you talked about the sleep and things like that, your home, and your passions. Yes, you should be making time for things that just are fun for you. Yeah. And so I put together something called the balance assessment. It is a guilt-free way to look at, where am I? And I think about like a bicycle wheel, right? If you have all these different spokes, and if one of those spokes isn't fully connected, you'll still be able to ride your bike down the road. But every time you hit that spot, it's going to be like clunk, 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 clunk. It's going to be a little bumpy, right? And so it starts putting stress on the other areas. So when you do this assessment, it kind of actually shows you a wheel. I put faith at the center, and then everything comes out from there. And then you can see, wow, what areas are getting my attention? What areas might need some more attention? And it's not about, equal balance, like everything gets even Steven, but it's what's going to keep me balanced and upright. Like a ballerina, if you watch her, she's not actually standing still. Her feet are going very quickly to keep her upright. So anyway, you can find that at redeemhertime.com/assessment. I have a little coaching video that goes with it, as well as this download that you can actually take your assessment and really start saying, okay, where do I need to make sure that I am investing some time so that I'm balanced and growing and able to caregive the people that God's called me to.
Yeah. Very good. It's like the Wheel of Life assessment. We do that. We're very familiar with that as nurses. So we do it for others. We have to do it for ourselves. I think that's the big thing that we need to realize, is we need to give ourselves a little assessment every once in a while. Thank you for that. Well, Lissa, it's been so fun. I love talking about this. I love practical, tactical, apply it right to your life. Anything else you have left to say?
I think I would just end with, you have time. Now ask the question, what is it time for? And I think those 2 shifts will make all the difference.
Hey, Wellness Warrior. I pray that blessed you. And if so, it would bless me big if you would write a 5-star review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Not only would this make me super happy, but it will allow for others to find this show too. Also, I love to chat over on Instagram, so make sure to take a screenshot, share to your Instagram stories, and tag me at @TheShanWright so I can see it and we can keep chatting and bring other moms to chat with us. Until we get to chat again, mama friend, may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace.